Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friends and colleagues from the insurance industry. My name is Ariel Rivera, and I am your host of Fun Insurance Solutions. Today, we have an amazing episode with my good friend and brother, Mr. Heath Shearon, the mayor of Insurance Town. But before we start, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our sponsors, Viva Virtual Assistant and Lightspeed Voice. Remember, if you need solutions for your phone systems, make sure you reach out to Lightspeed Boys and let them know you're part of the Fun family. And if you are looking for assistance to help you grow your agency and your business, reach out to Viva Virtual Assistants. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for your support. Let's have some fun. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friends and colleagues from the insurance industry across the country. My name is Ariel Rivera, and I am your host of Fun Insurance Solutions. Today, we have an awesome episode with my brother, Mr. Heath Shearon, the one and only mayor. And there's only one mayor, people, in the insurance industry, and that's Heath. Heath is a second generation insurance professional with over 15 years experience in the industry of sales and marketing as well. He has a love and passion for the insurance industry. And one thing I love about Heath, him and I are very equal. We just love helping people. I mean, and you can tell a lot of the insurance professionals, we love it because we love helping people. But I mean, Heath is one of those guys that he is just like me. He would do it expecting absolutely nothing in return. So he's one of the most respected and well-liked gentlemen of Arkansas. So without further introduction, I want you guys to meet my good friend Heath Shearon. Heath, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, my main man?
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? How's it going?
Man, things are going really well. Lots of stuff going on. But yeah, you're right. I appreciate the intro because I, like you, love this industry. I have a huge passion for agents, for carriers, the whole thing. I've been spending a lot of time with tech vendors lately. They're so much fun to work with. And the other thing that you and I have in common that we love dearly is the PIA. And so
Yes.
not any knock on IAOA or Big I or anything like that, but I just love the PIA. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And it's, the relationship we have built throughout the years, and all the other organizations are amazing as well. It's just, in my case, I like to call myself every once in a while, kind of like a PIA baby, because when I joined National, I was only 32. So I was, very young, surrounded by a room full of very well successful insurance professionals from across the country. So, we love it, and then we definitely advocate for that. So how you been, man? How are things going? I know you got great news, but before I get into that, I want to ask you a simple question. Today is Friday. Actually, today is Friday to everyone who's listening. You had a wonderful week full of clients. You did your consulting. You did great episodes in your podcast. You want to sit down with your beautiful wife, Stacy, and your children. You want to have a drink of choice. What will be that drink? It could be water, coffee, rum, wine, whatever. You know mine, it's rum, of course. Everybody knows it.
Mine's going to have to be some sort of whiskey on the rocks.
Nice. That's
any
particular brand?
My go-to right now is Woodford. But my wife and I were spoiled this past weekend being introduced to Angel's Envy. Have you ever had Angel's Envy? Oh, my gosh.
No, I never heard it. Is it good?
It spoiled us rotten. We tried to have – my wife and I like old fashions. And so we drink the old fashions, and we ordered one from a restaurant in Northwest Arkansas, and they gave us Angel's Envy. And it was quite a bit of an upcharge. But now everything after that just doesn't take –
That's horrible.
Spoiled rotten. But I do love some Woodford Reserve.
Okay, there you go. Well, cheers when you have yours today, because I know you probably have one at the end of the day. So listen, man, I want the world to know, and of course, a lot of people know you, especially in the insurance industry. But I want to get more into who the real Heath Shearon is. I mean, in Spanish, we call it open, el baúl de los recuerdos, which is, let's go down memory lane, open the trunk and tell me who you are deep inside and what made you the amazing insurance professional you are today.
I mean, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier. I am a second generation. So I grew up going to insurance conferences with my dad. Our family vacations a lot of time or wherever the local conferences were. So that's it's just been ingrained in me forever, the insurance industry and knowing what dad does, working with agents. And dad's always, sold insurance, but he's also had agents underneath him that he's poured a lot of time and energy and effort into training them and teaching them and working with them. So that's been a passion of mine. And then, early on in my career, I told myself I wasn't going to get into insurance. So I started off as a pastor for 7 years. I did associate pastor roles and youth pastor roles because I just love people. And I thought, why not? And then I realized quickly that, my passion for people could be translated just as well into insurance. And it could still be a ministry and it still be a passion of mine with people. And I could still sell insurance, have a good time with it. So early on, I started working with dad and selling insurance. And I went out on my own and had my own agency and, developed 3 or 4 agents in my agency. And then, that went really well until a point where I sold that and went on the carrier side because I wanted to broaden my horizons and learn the most that I could. And I got recruited to go work for a large carrier out of Des Moines, Iowa, and doing commercial insurance and personal lines and learning everything there was to know about the carrier side and working with agents in that front. That taught me so much, Ariel, to learn, how the carrier thinks and what they look like and how they want agents to think. And I got to learn about hit ratios and loss ratios and what that means to the carrier.
Yeah.
I always heard it on the agency side, but to know from that carrier side, that pain and that what they want and, the different ways they build products and how an agent may come to a carrier and say, hey, I want to develop a niche in this, and to see the carrier side and say, okay, how's that going to work? Here's the different products we're going to do. Here's what it looks like. For me personally, that opened my eyes up to so many things to the point where I said, okay, I've learned all of this. I spent 12 years on that side. It's time to jump back on the agency side. And that's what I did. Went back to the agency side, built a strong book again, went through Pace Setters. I don't know if you're familiar with State Auto, but they have a great program. So Pace Setters. And I was topping my class there, went on the cruise, earned the accolades there, won some prizes through that, loved it. And I just want to soak up all the knowledge that I could, Ariel. That's all I've ever cared about is just, I'm a sponge. I like to soak up everything I can from carriers to agencies to, tech vendors to whatever. I wanted to learn all I could to the point where the pandemic hit. And as you know, wherever you were in the world just shut down.
Oh, yeah.
We all know that. And when that happened, I've always had this dream of, I love the microphone. I love stages. I love spotlight. I love the limelight. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm very...
Well, you were a pastor, so that's true.
That is true.
Besides sharing, the God's word and all that, you're not afraid to talk to people.
I'm not. And so I got an opportunity through the PAA to be on some stages and through NAMIC or through NAFA or different organizations. Like, man, I love this. And my wife and I talked about it. I was like, why don't you start a podcast? You're stuck at home. You got nothing else to do. You've got a microphone. You've got a camera. Do it. Take your stage every week and do you.
That's
so
amazing.
I started the podcast in 2020 during the dreaded pandemic. And I hate to say this, but the pandemic was a huge blessing for me because I was able to develop this audience and develop this voice and this character of the mayor. And when I did that, it just quickly became my full-time gig. I got to the point where I was less selling, less carrier rep, less involved in those things. I wanted to go full-time into this. It was taking up so much of my time. And I started getting calls from agencies to help consult and work with them. And I even had some carriers that would come to me and say, hey, we want to develop this agency council. How do we do it? We want to develop this product. How do we do it? And so I started taking on that role and doing that and left the agency side behind, left the carrier roles behind, left all of that behind and became the mayor. I mean, there's sometimes I wake up and I forget I'm not really the mayor. But I am because I've taken on that persona and it's become who I am. And people that see me now at different events, whether it's ITC or IOA, I'm the mayor. I don't even think I have a first name anymore. And then just recently, and we'll talk about it some more later, but I've been able to join forces with a very prominent and strong force in Kelly Donahue Piro at APP, and that's been a game changer for me over the last month or so. And so and we can dig into that a little bit more, but that's kind of a quick high level view. I don't think I've ever told my story in that quick amount of time. Normally I'm long winded, but
I love it, man.
that's me in a nutshell. I've always just had a passion for people, a passion for the industry. And no matter what it is, I want to dive in and I want to help in any way I can. And that's me. I love people and I love networking and I love helping any way that I can.
I love it, man. I mean, we definitely share a lot of our values, and we probably have a similar DNA. So out of your story, first of all, congratulations for everything you have done. And I had no idea about the pastor thing. So that's amazing. I like it, man. And, you have all my respect for that because, of course, sharing God's word, it's amazing. Nothing
it really is.
God.
And it's funny, Scott Howell calls me the preacher. Because if y'all know the IGP podcast, I mean, like he'll come, hey, preacher, man, I need to talk to you about this, or I have a prayer request.
Yeah.
About this. I love him for it. And
That's
he teases me about it, but it's something that I want to have that respect where I'm not necessarily in a pulpit anymore, but I'm always going to share as much, guidance in that way that I can. But again, I still could cut it up and have a good time too.
Oh yeah. And just for everyone listening, Heath, he's the host of the Insurance Town podcast. So look him up, download his podcast, listen to him. You're going to have a lot of fun. It's a great podcast. I've been as a guest myself, and you're going to
twice.
Twice. That's true. Yeah, twice. You're going to find a lot of value in him and the guests he brings along the way, because as an insurance professional, one thing I love about you is you have both, you can share the agency side and you can share the carrier side. And that's one thing that's very difficult for both sides. So whenever you can have, the agency sides, and we get pissed at carriers and the carrier didn't do this, but most of the time, if you've never been on the carrier side, you do not understand the things that go, during closed doors for the carriers, things like the reinsurance treaties. Do we fall under, the underwriting guidelines? Why are they built that way? What type of policies have they filed with the insurance commissioner? There's so many things that go, behind the curtain with the carriers that in your case, it's amazing that you've been on both sides. So
that's one of the things I used to share with a lot of my clients when I have agents. They'll be like, this stupid carrier, y'all just want to take a 10% increase because you're, stubborn. No, the commissioner came down to the carrier and said, we are mandating that you take this percentage of increase. It wasn't that we wanted to. It's just that we were demanded to, or, in that year we had gazillion dollars of losses in the auto department, or in, we had a huge hailstorm and whatever happened. And so once you understand that, you can go to that agent and explain to them, okay, here's why we're taking the increase. You have to understand that. And if I can help the carrier, translate that to the agent, it makes it that much more valuable. And then when I was an agent, to be able to understand that and say, you know what, I get it. And I can explain to my client better, say, here's the deal. You're not getting an increase for any other reason other than maybe it was, as I don't want to bore you too much, but
no. I love it.
Like even with cars, it used to be back in the day, they didn't have the backup camera. They didn't have all the technology. They didn't have the certain, even material they would use to build the cars. That costs more money now. And so if you want those self-driving cars, they cost more money, which means you got to have more insurance. There's just a lot of things that kind of go into that.
Oh yeah.
So it makes sense when you explain that, but some of these clients think, oh, you're just greedy insurance agent. You just want more money because you want more money, but it's not that way. There's so much more that goes into it.
And also as agency, as insurance professionals, sending that clear message out there, it's hard. So I tell everyone, don't feel, don't beat yourself up or anything. It is very hard to translate insurance. And I don't want to pick on Geico or anything, but it's not as simple as 15 minutes can save you whatever. No, it's not.
It's not.
And I tell, this is people's assets. This is the hard-earned asset, what you work for, what you study, what, you purchase your home. Buying a home, it's really difficult. And and that person made it. So, of course, they want the cheapest insurance. Well, premium might be, one might come into terms most of the time because that's all people think, unfortunately, because of all the marketing that we have on TV. But, I always tell everyone, and when I teach, I always say this, win on price, lose on price. And I learned that from Dulce Suarez in Florida. She always teaches that. She was a mentor as well. And she's like, if that's the message you're going to send out, you're going to lose every insurer.
You're exactly right. And unless you're doing high volume and you're turning them quickly, you're not going to be able to keep up in that game to do the selling on price and, like you said, losing on price. And it also goes back to natural. I mean, you went through Irma and Maria in a matter of a week or two or whatever. That affects the whole country when it comes to that. Wildfires in California, that affects everybody, not just California.
Oh, yeah.
So just to be able to explain some of that and what goes into that, I think it's given a unique perspective for me personally. Not that I'm any better than anyone else. It's just a different perspective. And then on the other side of that, you and I have the privilege of seeing it from an association perspective. Oh, yeah. So you and I both, and a lot of people that work with associations, get to see what other agencies are going through and what other carriers are going through. And it's amazing. So I say this, if you're listening to this wherever you're sitting right now, if you have an opportunity to be on a board of directors, whether it's for the PIA or the Big I or anything like that, take that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately. Say yes.
Say yes. Yeah, I agree with you. And most of the people think it's like, oh, are they going to pay me for that? No. Don't. Number one, that's voluntary work. You're giving back to the industry that has given you so much. And number two, the relationships you build, you're going to get 100 times more back in life on the long term than what you get. A lot of people most of the time will say to me, oh, you're always spending so much time, with PIA or traveling or doing this. And I'm like, but thanks to those relationships, I'm able to speak at conferences across the country. Yep. I'm able to teach in different states across the country. It wasn't because me sitting down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, doing my own thing. Oh, yeah, they're going to call me. No, you build relationship by giving back and helping the industry. And people think, oh, so what do you guys do? You only do advocacy. That's not the only thing, those organizations like Big I or PIA or even IAOA for it's for what it's matter. IAOA, it's for helping agency owners and agency principals. So they're doing something to help. Are you part of the people that's really helping others? That's the question you got to ask yourself. And I'm like you. I mean, if you're listening to this is the moment you got to join whatever organization of your choice, but give back to the insurance community what the insurance industry has given you.
100%. And like you just said, you said it very well. No matter where you're at, if you're a life insurance or health insurance, there's NAFA, there's PIA, there's everything. And again, it's not just one thing. Find what you're good at. If you want to join just because you care about the legislative side of it, do that. Mm-hmm. Or if you're a numbers guy and you care about that, join and be the finance chair or be the numbers guy, be the
treasurer. The treasurer.
Treasurer, yeah. Yep. And if you're really good at networking and doing that, then jump in that role and be a new membership role or whatever that is. Find your niche, find what you're good at, give back. But again, like you said it best, you're going to get so much more out of it than you put in, guaranteed, hands down.
Oh yeah. And the relationships are going to be forever.
They are. And I know this is probably not where you wanted to go on this podcast, but this is a passion of mine because I get upset when people to this day come to me and say, I joined the blank association and got nothing out of it. Well, what did you do? What did you put into it? Well, I paid my dues.
That's true. Yeah.
You paid your dues, but you go to an event? Did you give to the PAC or did you get involved with this or that legislative year? Did you go to this? What did you put into it? Because you're only going to get out what you put in. And
I agree.
I think that's anything. If you have an agency and you're playing golf 4 days a week, you're not going to sell a whole lot.
No.
Put in, you're going to get out. And I think that goes for anything. One of the things I love most about you is, you and I have the same shared values of being a father. It means a lot to you. Yeah. If you don't put into your kids, then you're not going to get as much out of it either. And you got to pour into your kids. You got to pour into your agency, pour into your association, pour into whatever you're doing. Not to get on my soapbox, but dang it, Ariel, you got to be going.
Yeah, I love it, man. Don't stop. Keep preaching, preacher.
There you go. You see it now. You get it now.
I get it now.
I get my soapboxes and I get to preaching.
I know. And I love it. Well, the cool thing is, the sad part for me is you got two cool names. You got the mayor and the preacher. I only got the merman. So,
Hey, I love the merman. The merman's awesome. That's a great thing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I definitely, I cannot be thankful enough for your words just because it's so important, to put in, and like you just said, whether it's your agency, your family, and one of the things as a father, unfortunately, I learned the hard way with the hurricanes, that I could die, whether it was because of the hurricane or the amount of stress and work that I got burned out after that, working 20 hours a day for 9 months. I got health problems and many things. And at the end of the day, I started realizing what am I going to do with my family? What am I going to do with my daughter? I have to be there for them as well. It's not just about the clients only, but it's also about being there for them. So, I decided I'm going to make it my number one goal to go to every soccer game, every taekwondo, anything my daughter wants to do, unless I'm traveling. And even when I'm traveling, I try to create my schedule to a way that I'm always back in time to never miss those things. So yeah, I appreciate your words, and
it's all about, it's all about your values and your priorities and where you put those, where you line those out.
Oh yeah, I agree. So talk to me a little bit about agency performance partners. Everybody in the industry, or almost everybody, knows who Kelly Donahue is, know how amazing she is, know the good things that she brings to the table, and know that she can only make agencies better and grow. So her bringing you in, it's amazing because, you bring that whole perspective that we already talked about. Talk to me about your role. What are you looking for? I know this is new. So what are you looking forward to this, and let the people know what you guys can do for them?
First of all, if you don't know, and if you do know, Kelly Donahue Piro is a machine. I say that in the most positive way, because I've seen now her schedule. I've seen what she does. I've been a part of her calls. The woman is just unbelievable as far as
hustle.
She embodies the hustle, and she'll say this out loud. She doesn't have kids. She doesn't have some of those other distractions, so to speak, other things in her life. Not the kids are distraction. That's probably poor choice of words.
I know.
But she puts so much of her heart and soul into her agencies that she works with. And she's not going to come in your agency and tell you, this is what you have to do to be successful. What she wants to do is sit down with her clients and figure out, okay, what are your visions? What are your goals? What are your passions? What do you want to achieve? And then she's going to hold your feet to the fire to that. And she's going to set out processes and procedures to get you there. If you say, I want to grow my agency by 10X, well, by God, she's going to make sure by the end of that year, you're going to grow your agency by 10X, because we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And so much of it is deeply rooted in accountability, in making sure that you're on top of these things. And she's got everything from schools to virtual to in-person trainings to all of those things. And again, for me personally, the more I was growing my consulting business, so to speak, and growing the insurance town, I didn't have the 8 years of experience that she has building all of that. I didn't have the team. I didn't have the expertise, so to speak, in how to do some of those things that she had. So, going back even a year or two ago, we were referring each other clients already. And so it's like, why are we doing that? Why don't we just come together and work together? And so when we talked about it, it was like, it makes sense for me to come on board with her. It makes sense for she and I to come together instead of just, referring one another. So that referral relationship became, a partnership, so to speak, and a working relationship to where I'm on her team now. And I'm so happy for that, because what she has built, if you're not working with, if you don't know, and this is not a commercial for APP.
No. That's what I wanted to hear. That's,
But it's one of those things to where, whether you want to get better at cross-selling or retention or hiring or sales, she's already built some of that together. And then she brings me on to, now she can duplicate herself, so to speak, to where I can take on some clients with her or for her, and build that as well. And I have a different skill set than she does. And we're a lot alike in a lot of ways, but even from geographically, she's from the Northeast, I'm from the South. So we teach, that people think, the cold Northeastern people versus I want to hug everybody and wrap everybody in arms, big teddy bear. But at the same time, we both have the same mission in mind of taking care of our clients, making sure that they become ridiculously amazing. And that's her tagline, is ridiculously amazing insurance agents. And that's her whole passion, her whole goal. And we shared that. So for me personally, it made sense for me to soak up everything I can get from her and learn so much from her and spit that right back out into the same passion and love that I have for agents.
That's amazing. I know she hustle. I didn't know it was that big, like you said. But I know she's always pretty busy because she's always traveling up and down and doing it. And, she's well known in the industry as the best, or one of the best. So kudos to her and kudos to you. I mean, I know a lot of people respect you as well. And there's a lot of value you guys are going to be bringing to agencies across the country and Puerto Rico, of course.
Yes, for sure. And again, it goes back to a passion that you and I and Kelly share. And some people that listen to this show, a passion for growing your agency, a passion for being better, whether it's, education, or whether it's accountability, or whether it's watching videos, whatever it might be, that passion comes out. You can't help but notice it. You can't help but see it. Even listening to this show, you're probably sitting there thinking, man, that guy Heath's a lot of energy. But I do it all because I love this industry. You love this industry. And every time Ariel and I talk, I learn so much. And I'm taking notes even right now as I'm talking to him, like, oh my gosh.
I'm doing the same, by the way.
I learned so much from you, and I'm always trying to soak that up. And your audience is so lucky to have you every week in their ear, every other week, or however often they listen to you. That's so valuable. And be proud of yourself for listening to this show.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. The feeling is mutual. So let's just put it that way. I appreciate your kind words, brother. So let me tell you something. Let's go. We're going to walk into an agency right now, and we're going to do this in 2 minutes or 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I call you up, Heath, you know what? I'm struggling with my retention and my renewals. What's one of the first things you would like to see from my agency to build up or improve that retention rate or those renewals?
I would say, let's look at, what's your experience, the customer experience look like? How many times are you touching them throughout the year? If there's an onboarding, process of once they become a client, what's next? And some people have, there's people like Chris Paradiso that have like 24 touch points throughout the year. And there's others that have 10 or they have 8, whatever that system is. I would say, make sure you do that. And so many of the old school and even new school agencies out there, they sign them, they get their check, and they don't talk to them again until renewal. I say retention starts from day one, and you continue to work throughout the year with them every, 30 days, every 15 days, or whatever that is. You send them a postcard or an email, or they see you on social, or you pick up the phone and call them. And that's a lost art. People have already forgotten, is just pick up the phone and, hey, Ariel, just want to say hi, see how you doing, whatever, happy Thanksgiving, whatever it might be. And again, different marketing campaigns you can automate so much of that and still make it feel like it's organic. And, even some people shy away from friending their clients on Facebook. I don't say that's a bad deal. I think you could learn a lot, and they could see behind the curtain of who the real Ariel is, that she does her wife's hair or he does his wife's hair. And he's involved. I see you. I see you color your wife's hair, and you get involved with your kids' soccer. Why would you not want to buy from Ariel when you see that? It's like, man, what a great guy, a great father, a great husband. And I say, when you have those touch points, by the time you get to 90 days out from the renewal, they're like, why would I move from this agency? They've touched me this many times throughout the year. And I think it also comes down to transparency. When you do have an increase, call them regardless. If it's a 1%, a 5%, a 10% increase, we at APP believe in a renewal call for everybody. Pick up the phone and call them up and say, hey, we're so proud we have to do a business. It doesn't have to be a long call or a long email, just something to say, we're proud to have you because here's transparent, you're going to have an increase. And here's your options from there, whether you shop it or whether you just explain to them why. I think full open transparency is a big help. I think your touch points throughout the year. And I just think being real and upfront with people just goes a long way. I don't know if that answers your questions, but that's off the top of my dome.
No, I love it, man. That's a lot of value right there. And then the touching points, it's something that not every agency does. And I took a seminar once with Chris Paradiso, and I saw because I thought I was doing a good thing, but then I kind of like second guessed myself because I try to have at least 12 to 15 touching points throughout the year. But then, of course, I also have like the hurricane preparedness and all that stuff once the hurricane season starts, and then once, we're at the peak, which is August and September. So I keep those touching points flowing. And I thought I was doing something good until I see Chris Paradiso and he has 24 or something. I'm like, oh, but you know what? It makes sense. When you look at his agency and his book of business, where he's at, it's amazing. It's impressive. So like right now, we're 1 week away from Thanksgiving, which, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Enjoy the turkey, the football, and a little bit of the whiskey as well. But for Thanksgiving, so I created a marketing campaign, where I'm going to send everybody a text message, all my clients, saying from our family to yours, happy Thanksgiving. Something as simple as that. What do you think that's going to do for the renewal? The renewals that are coming in December, people are seeing we care and we're sharing who we are, a picture, whether it's a picture of our family or our agency or a team member. So
I think it's huge. And I think it's little things like that that are so simple. And I think even, if you, whatever, CRM or AMS system or whatever, there's always ways you can automate a lot of these things. And I think if your AMS or your agency or whatever has a text message feature, like you just mentioned, it's something you could send out a text message to everybody. It doesn't take a click of a button, and you could have everybody they don't know that went out to 10,000 other people or however many clients you have. They just think it went to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, Ariel sent me a happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Or something that affects one of the things that we're going to talk about Paradiso. You're welcome, Chris. We're helping you out here. But one of the things I love about what Chris does, and I'm not saying to copy this verbatim, but he has a special thing. He's all about America. He has a Flag Day celebration. And I'm not saying you should do a Flag Day celebration, but find out what your agency is about and celebrate that. And so he does a big celebration. He spends the money on marketing, does the thing, but people know his values. They know he stands behind America. They know what he stands for. His branding is all around the American flag. Everything he does is about veterans and about this and about that. And I think you have to find that for you, no matter what that is.
I like it.
It could be the color blue. Everything you do has got to be blue, or something. It doesn't matter what it is. I just think that if you find whatever that theme is or whatever your agency stands for, stand behind that.
Yep, I love it. And it all goes back to the why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be an insurance professional? And in that sense, you're right. Chris Paradiso message is so clear.
It's very clear. You're never going to question.
No, exactly. And that's one thing. We all struggle to a certain point, so we keep working and learning and listening to your podcast, going to conventions and listening to the ones that have been doing it right to actually learn to make it ourselves. But you know what? I appreciate your input on the touching points, because that's one thing I try to explain people. It's not about selling it and then the renewal. And listen, there's agencies that are very successful and they can make, $1, $2, $3 million revenue a year, but just by sales. But they don't realize, and I saw this, I share office at a point in time with an older gentleman, whom I love like a father, basically. All he did was sales, 100% sales. His agency was somewhere around 500, 700 in revenues maybe, but it was 100% sales. But what happened when he started getting older? So there was no real book of business because there was no retention. And that was a huge problem, because if you want to build something for the long run, and I get it, if you have a good sales strategy at your agency and you're all about sales and you're hitting the number, that's fine. But try to turn it around a little bit and think about retention. Retention, and I always call it, the clients, the retention is the blood that runs through our vein. Whenever you have blood in your veins, that means you're always alive, right? You're going to keep going. So, but if you start losing all that blood, what are you going to need? Transfusion, things like that, which means you need to get new clients all the time. So work on your touching points, work on the onboarding, and definitely the biggest takeaway today, the retention and the renewal starts from day one. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. It's true.
Words of wisdom by the mayor.
Come on. You're making me blush here. Stop.
Listen, man, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for this. I love you and appreciate you.
Yeah, I love you too, brother. Always.
Yes, and I look forward to seeing you soon. We'll see each other in January, right?
We will.
For the Insurance Guys podcast mastermind.
That's right.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. Oh yeah, that's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, very interesting one. So there's a lot of players going there, so it should be a good one.
It should be a good one. Yeah, from the first time I met you, Stacy and I met you in Orlando to now, it's just been fast friendship and family, and we love and care for your family. I know you do the same with ours. So I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving as well.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And to those listening, remember you can download Heath's podcast. It's called the Insurance Town Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being with me.
Yes, sir.